All right, hello everyone. It is Brenda here for Stamplicity and welcome to Fun Friday. Yes, this is a pre-recording. It is our grand reopening today, so I pre-recorded this so that you wouldn't miss out on the Fun Friday that I had planned. All right, so today we're going to really explore stencil butters. We just received the brand new colors from the Crafters Workshop just a few weeks ago, the navy blue, the violet, and the cornflower blue. And I was going to use those in the video, but then I thought, you know what? We've got these great stencils in from the Crafters Workshop, and you know, St. Patty's Day is just around the corner, so why not use those with some of the existing colors from the Crafters Workshop, all right, TCW. And we're going to use some greens, all right, because it's St. Patty's Day. So I wanted to kind of explain the product here and show you how quick and simple it is to make a really great background using stencils. Now, there's multiple ways you can use the stencil butter. The most common way is through a stencil. This is my favorite product to use through a stencil. There's lots and lots of texture pastes that are out there, but this is my favorite, and you'll understand why, because it's so easy to use. All right, now before I get started, I will tell you that we're going to set this up as at our demo bar in the next week. All right, so if you want to try this out, pop in at the store and you can make one of the backgrounds that you see here. And now I'm going to use both. I'm going to show you both just to show you those beautiful stencils with that shamrock background and the shamrock design in the heart there. But you can definitely try this out if you pop in the store in the next week. All right, so all right, let's talk about the beautiful stencil butter. All right, I'm going to be using two different colors here, chartreuse and lime green. Now I'm going to open up this lime green, and this is just divine. All right, so do you see the shimmer to this? It is beautiful, and the consistency of this is just lovely. All right, it's thick, all right, but not too thick, and it really is an easy paste to use. It goes on like butter, and hence the name. Okay, so I'm going to be using a palette knife because I forgot to get the butter spreader. TCW has this kind of large format spreader. It is beautiful. It is 6 inches and makes it really easy to do a design through a stencil. You'll get a nice drag through it, or you can drag it really nicely. But because I'm going to be mixing colors, I'm going to be using a palette knife, all right? But if you try this at the store on the demo bar, we're going to have the palette knife as well as the butter spreader, so you can try both. All right, so that is the lovely lime green, all right, which is just, look at that reflective quality on there, all right? And then we also have the chartreuse, all right, which is this beautiful green as well. All right, so let me show you what we're gonna do here. I'm just gonna wipe off my palette knife because I do have some of that lime green on there and I don't want it to dry as I'm talking. So with any texture paste, it's really important that you do clean off your tools and your stencils right away. You will hear, you know, designers and teachers and our very own Michelle will always have a stencil bath nearby, and that's just kind of a container with water in it so that you can put your tools and your stencils in it right away and then go back and clean it, all right? So it's really important that you get that water on it or soak it in a stencil bath to clean it, all right? Otherwise, that's going to be on there forever and ever. Okay, so we're going to start with the full shamrock background, all right? So this we do have in stock, all right? We did get this in for St. Patty's Day. So I'm going to open this up. These are 6x6 stencils, all right? Now, I am working on cardstock. Now, this is kind of like a creamy ivory. This is the Nina Winter White, or I think that's what it's called. I can't remember. But it's more of a cream, 110 pound, but any cardstock will do. That's fine. I like using this cardstock. Now, I'm going to be taping this down onto my glass mat here to hold my paper in place. So I'm just going to use the best tape ever from Spellbinders. And I'm just going to put a little roll behind there, okay, just to hold it down flat, okay? Then I'm going to take my stencil, and because my stencil is slightly bigger than my paper, I'm going to tape this down now too, all right? Now, if you have a magnetic board, you could definitely do magnets. My glass mat is magnetic, but there's not much room to hold my stencil with magnets. So I am just going to put a couple pieces just at the corners here. All right, just to hold it. All right. Now, the important part whenever you use a texture paste is when you go ahead and drag your texture paste through the stencil, you always want to maintain one direction, all right? You don't want to spread it down and then back up and then across and back, because you are going to push that stencil or texture paste underneath the stencil. You always work in one direction. You're going to get the best result for that, okay? See, I'm just, I want us to do all four corners. My OCD is kicking in, guys. I want to do all four corners. Sorry, you don't need to. It's just me. It's not you, it's me. So, the other thing that you can do is use a spray adhesive, like Pixie spray. That is a low-tack adhesive spray that a lot of people will use on their stencils, but I'm just going to use tape to hold it down. Okay, so we are going to mix colors. Now, when you do mix colors, you want to make sure you clean your palette knife in between before picking up the next color, all right? Just watch how I do this. All right. So when you work with any type of texture paste, if this is new to you, don't be afraid. All right. It is fun to play around with. I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to scoop out some at the back side of my palette knife. That is the way I do it. And then I'm going to hold it like at a 45-degree angle, and I'm just going to start applying it through the stencil. Again, I'm only going to work in one direction. So I'm pulling down. So that's the direction I'm going to do. So I'm going to, and as I go, I just go back and pick up the excess and scrape it off. Okay. And it's just, it just goes on so nicely. Now I'm going to go back with a little bit more. Okay. And do the same thing. Again, I'm pulling down. I'm going to get right to those edges. Now, I'm not worrying about full coverage right now because I want to get that second color in here. So that's my first color, the lime green. All right. Now, I've picked up the excess there. All right. I'm going to go ahead and just scrape that back in there, and I'm going to close this up. I'm going to talk about what you can do to help maintain that. All right. So I'm going to clean up my palette knife, and then now I'm going to grab my chartreuse. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab some of that. And now I'm going to kind of work in those areas that are white space, all right? And then those colors are going to mix, all right? So now we've got this kind of goldy green mixed in with that lime. And it may look like a hot mess on here, but trust me, when I pull this off, it's going to be just awesome. All right, so now I'm just going to go and fill in all those white spaces. And I have more than enough on my palette knife. I don't need a refill. If I needed to refill, you want to clean your palette knife. If you had to go back into your chartreuse to pick up more, then go ahead and clean off. All right, so now I'm just cleaning off my stencil here. All right, now this here, what I do with this is I have a piece of scrap paper, and I'm just going to take my palette knife and spread that on, and that's going to become a really cool background. All right, so I'm just going to spread that on, and as you can see, you can make pearlized backgrounds with this, just with excess, all right? Because you don't want to put this back in there because we've used the two colors, all right? So I'm going to clean my palette knife. I'm going to put my lid back on, and I want to go clean my stencil now. So I'm going to very carefully remove the tape. Now, when you remove this, I'm going to pick it up from the top, all right, and then just very carefully lift it off and take a look at that. That is divine. All right, I am just going to go and stick this in my sink. So I'm going to be right back, and then I'm going to bring this up closer to the camera and clean up this mess. So give me 2 seconds. All right, I am back. Sorry, I did have my sink full of water, so I just stuck it in there. And now to clean this off. Now, what you can do is, it's still wet, all right? So you can go ahead with your palette knife and pick up all this extra, all right? And then I can just add it to my little piece here, all right? And then you can just clean this up, again, just with a little bit of water, all right, because it's wet still, all right? So just gonna grab my water bottle. I'm gonna spray my mat there. And let's clean that up. All right, so easy cleanup. As long as it's still wet, it's easy cleanup. It's when it starts drying, that's when it becomes a bit of a pain, all right? Now, if I'm using a glass mat, so if this dries on the glass mat, I just use a scraper and scrape it off. So I've got some dry stuff here that will scrape right off, all right? So that is what I will do. So I'm all good and cleaned up. I'm gonna bring our stenciled background here, and you can kind of, look how beautiful that is. Look at the shimmer. I love the fact that you're getting that lime green, you're getting that chartreuse, and then we've made some new colors in there too by mixing it, all right? Now that's gonna dry, you can see the texture on there. Now you can see the texture that I've left from the palette knife. Now having the butter spreader, you're gonna have a more consistent, smooth finish, all right? So that butter spreader is really, really fun to use. But there is a beautiful background. I'm gonna allow that to dry, and let's go ahead and do that heart one now. Okay, so let me just put that to the side right there. And then I have another one, and I may trim these down to an A2. All right, so there, and I'll make something with these backgrounds too, and I'm gonna show them to you tomorrow. I'll post them, what I've done with them, all right? All right, so I'm gonna grab my heart stencil now. This one's beautiful. Now this one here, I don't know if I can trim down because it is a pretty large heart. So, oh, this one's got Happy St. Patrick's Day on there as well. All right, so I'm just going to kind of center that left to right. And I'm going to tape that down. I don't know if I don't know if I want the St. Patrick's Day on there, but we'll do it. All right, so I'm going to center this on as best I can so that we're getting everything. And then I'm going to tape this down just like I did with the background, and I'm going to do all 4 corners. Okay. All right, and we're going to do the same thing. All right, so I'm going to start with the lime green. I'm going to pick a little bit of that up. I'm not going to go as much now with this one. This one's a bit of a smaller design. So, and again, I'm just going to pull down. Okay. Okay, I need to pick some more up, and I'm going to actually do the Happy St. Patty's Day. Now, the cool thing about stencils is they're such a versatile tool. You can use ink through them, paste, sprays, so much. All right. All right, so I've got the St. Patrick's Day done. And I have just a little bit on my palette knife, so I'm just going to use it. And then I'm going to mix that chartreuse in. Okay, just going to close that up, clean it off, and let's mix in that chartreuse now. And I'm just going to do this on the heart. I did that all in that beautiful lime green, the St. Patty's Day. I'm not going to mix any color with that. Okay, so I need to pick up some more of that chartreuse. All right, so I don't want to use this. I want to clean this off. All right, I'm going to use my rag as well. And then my palette knife is clean now, so I can go in here. So we're not going to contaminate that chartreuse with any of that mixed lime green. All right, so I'm just going to fill in all the white spaces here, pulling down still, and then scraping off the excess. And I have that nicely filled. I'm going to put my lid back on, and then the excess what I have on here, let's just put that on and create a fun little pattern. All right, so there is that. And that I can use to die cut. I can use it as a background. Actually, I'm going to see if I can get this a little bit smoother. Some of it dried already. That's how quick this stuff dries. All right, and maybe I'll die cut with that. All right, so that's clean. Oh, you know what? I just realized I have a little white space at the top there. One of those shamrocks. Can I get it? There we go. Got it. Okay, so gonna clean my palette knife, grab the corners off. And let's pull this off and hope for the best. All right, so pull it, don't let it move. Just pick up a corner and then commit to taking it off. Ah, beautiful. All right, gonna come right back. I'm gonna put this in my stencil bath. 1 second. Okay, so let me raise this up. Look how beautiful that is. My one hand is wet from the stencil bath. Ooh, there we go. Look at how beautiful. Nice crisp lines on those. Beautiful shamrocks in multicolors in green. All right, so before I sign off on this, I'm gonna let that dry. I will make a couple of cards using those backgrounds, and then I'll show you what you can do with these, die cut and use as a background as well. But let's talk about after you're done with it, you really want to make sure you got the lids on. Now, the best thing you can do is get Glad Press and Seal, all right? And then just take a piece and then put a piece of press and seal in there and kind of push it down so there's no air in there, and then put your lid on there. It's going to help maintain the fluidness of this so it doesn't dry out. My best advice to give you is when you open a texture paste, use it. Don't be a collector. I gotta say, TCW probably has some of the best pastes out there in terms of the stencil butter. I've had mine for years and they're still good. The consistency is great. Other companies, not so much. But I always say, if you're gonna buy something, use it, all right? I do encourage you to try these stencil butters, especially if you have stencils at home. They make beautiful backgrounds. And again, you can use it to make just kind of paletted backgrounds. I just swipe that on there, but then I can die cut this as well. So many things. You can actually paint with this as well, which is awesome. Just put a little bit of water, mix it up a little bit, splatter with it. It's so much fun that you can do with stencil butters. I do encourage you to try them out. So if you're in the store in the next week or so, we will have this at our demo bar, all right? And you can make a lovely little shamrock background, either the heart or just the regular background, and then you can make a great St. Paddy's Day project with that. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on Fun Friday, and we will see you next time.